For many centuries, the galaxy was ruled by great and powerful alien empires. Among them, the Vorn Dominion was feared by all. The Vorn were tall, silver-skinned beings with glowing eyes and perfect armor. Their technology was far beyond what humans could create. They had starships the size of mountains, weapons that could split a planet, and knowledge that reached across galaxies. When the Vorn first came to Earth, humanity had just begun to explore nearby planets. They sent small ships to Mars and built colonies on the Moon. But the arrival of the Vorn changed everything. Their ships filled the sky like silver clouds. Within hours, every military satellite and defense system went silent. The leaders of Earth tried to resist, but the Vorn made it clear that resistance was useless. Human armies fell, and soon Earth became one of many colony worlds under the Vorn flag. They called Earth a training ground for lesser species. The Vorn treated humans as workers, engineers, and researchers, but never as equals. To them, humans were only curious creatures with short lives and strong emotions. They called them the soft minds, but not all humans accepted that fate. Deep under the frozen mountains of Greenland, a secret group worked in silence. They called themselves the Horizon Team. It was formed by scientists, engineers, pilots, and even former Vorn translators who wanted freedom for their people. They lived underground, hidden from Vorn scanners, using stolen technology and secret codes. At the center of their base stood a half-finished structure, a machine so massive that it filled an entire chamber. Its surface glowed faintly with blue lines that looked like rivers of light. The air around it shimmered as if the laws of nature bent slightly near it. The leader of the Horizon Team was Mira, a woman with calm eyes and strong will. She had once worked as a physicist for the Vorn, but left after seeing how cruelly they treated her people. With her was Ryan, a young engineer who had grown up during the Vorn occupation. He was known for his strange ideas and deep curiosity about higher dimensions. That night, as snow fell silently above their base, Mira stood near the glowing structure. "We are close," she said softly. "The energy readings are stable now. One more test and we can begin the phase shift." Ryan wiped sweat from his face and looked at the control screens.
"Phase shift will require more power than we have," he said.
"If the Vorn detect an energy spike, they will come." Mira turned to him with a steady voice. "Then we will make it quick. If we succeed, it won't matter who comes." Ryan nodded. His heart beat fast. He had dreamed of this moment since he was a child. The Vorn called humans weak, but they did not understand human persistence. Humans had built this machine in secret, piece by piece from broken alien parts and ancient human knowledge. They called it the 7th Dawn. It was not just a ship. It was something far more. It was designed to travel not through normal space, but through layers of reality, what Ryan called dimensional folds. The Vorn believed travel was limited by light speed. But humans, in their endless curiosity, had found something that broke those limits. Years ago, explorers had discovered a strange crystal buried under the ice in Antarctica. The crystal pulsed with strange energy that defied every known law. It was not from any star system in Vorn records. It seemed alive, as if it remembered other realities. When scientists touched it, they saw colors that did not exist, sounds that came from no direction, and numbers that had no end. The Vorn took the crystal for study, but when it began to distort their machines, they locked it away, calling it unstable matter. The Horizon Team stole it before it could be destroyed. That crystal became the heart of the 7th Dawn. Ryan often worked late into the night, fascinated by how the crystal reacted to human thought. It responded to emotion and focus, something the Vorn could never understand. To them, science was pure logic. To humans, it was curiosity, creativity, and sometimes madness. That night, Ryan stayed after the others left. The chamber was quiet except for the low hum of the machine. He placed his hand on the control panel, feeling the soft vibration under his skin. The lights dimmed and the crystal core in the center began to pulse slowly like a heartbeat. Suddenly, a wave of light spread through the room. The air changed. He saw brief flashes, mountains of light, rivers flowing upward, stars folding like paper. For a second, he felt weightless, as if his mind had stepped outside time. Then everything went dark again. The lights returned and Ryan found himself gasping for air. His instruments were going wild. The crystal had connected to something beyond his understanding. He wrote in his logbook with shaking hands. The core reacted to mental focus. It connected to a higher dimension. This is not just energy. It is awareness. When Mira came back a few hours later, she saw the change in his face. "You saw it, didn't you?" she asked quietly. Rian nodded. "It's not just a power source. It's a door. It opens to something we don't understand." Mira looked at the glowing machine with awe. "Then we must learn to control it. Because when the Vorn discover what we've built, they will try to take it." Outside the hidden base, the Vorn ships patrolled the skies, unaware of what was happening below. To them, Earth was just another quiet planet filled with obedient workers. But deep under the ice, humans were about to change the rules of the galaxy. For the next few weeks, the Horizon team worked non-stop. They installed new stabilizers, refined the crystal chamber, and tested short pulses of dimensional energy. Each time, strange effects appeared: metal bending like liquid, light turning into sound, shadows moving without source. The team kept detailed records, though most of what they saw had no explanation. One day, while testing the smaller engine, the power readings suddenly spiked. The machine emitted a deep hum that made the walls shake. Ryan shouted, "Shut it down!" But before they could, the entire chamber was filled with blinding light. When the light faded, something incredible appeared in the middle of the room, a floating shape, like a window showing another place. It was not space, not sky, but a shifting world of color and geometry that seemed alive. Everyone stared in silence. Mira stepped forward carefully. "Is it stable?" she asked. Rian checked his instruments. "I think it's more than stable. It's inviting." The team could not explain what they saw, but one thing was clear. The seventh dawn had touched the seventh dimension. That night, the team celebrated quietly. For the first time, humanity had gone beyond the limits of the Vorn. They had touched something higher, something even the great empires had failed to understand. But their celebration did not last long. In the Vorn control tower above, a silver officer studied his scanner with narrow eyes. "Unusual energy detected under Sector G14, he said coldly. "Send a patrol. No activity is allowed in that region." And just like that, the silence of the human base was about to end. Deep below the ice, unaware of the approaching threat, Ryan looked at the glowing crystal and whispered, "They thought we were weak, but they have no idea what's coming." The seventh dawn pulsed once more, sending a wave of invisible energy through the ground, as if it was waiting for the right moment to awaken completely. Snowstorm roared above the frozen mountains, covering the surface of Greenland in white silence. Beneath that endless ice, the hidden base of the Horizon team was alive with motion. Engineers moved fast, carrying tools and data tablets. Technicians shouted readings to one another as glowing lights filled the chamber. The seventh dawn was alive, humming with a deep and steady pulse like a sleeping giant ready to wake. Mira stood at the control platform, her eyes fixed on the massive ship. The blue lights running across its surface were no longer random. They moved in patterns, forming strange symbols that no one could read. The machine was thinking, adapting, and growing stronger each hour. Rian checked his monitor and looked amazed. "The crystal core is producing energy beyond our limits," he said. "It's multiplying itself, drawing power from the dimensional field." Mira nodded. "We have to stabilize it. If it continues like this, the Vorn will sense the signal." Ryan turned to her quickly. They already might have. "Yesterday, we saw a slight rise in the scanner frequency above our region. It could be a patrol." Mira's face became tense. "Then we have to prepare for discovery. We knew this day would come." She walked to the team assembled near the ship. There were 15 humans in the Horizon team. Each had left behind family, names, and normal lives to protect this project. They lived underground, ate simple food, and worked long hours with one goal: to give humanity a future where no alien could call them weak again. "Listen, everyone," Mira said. "The Vorn might be moving toward us. If they find this base, they will destroy it. But we cannot let this ship be taken. It is the only chance we have. Ryan and I will begin the core synchronization test today. We must know how far we can push the ship before the Vorn arrive." The group nodded silently. No one spoke of fear, but it lived in their eyes. Rian turned to his console and began typing commands. The seventh dawn responded instantly. The hum grew louder, the lights brighter. On the screen, graphs climbed sharply. Energy levels doubled, then tripled. The crystal in the center chamber pulsed faster until the whole room shimmered. Suddenly, a loud alarm rang. The ceiling lights flickered. One of the engineers shouted, "Energy overload in Section 2." Ryan's fingers flew over the keys.
Stabilizers online.
The machine trembled, sending small waves through the ground. But instead of exploding, the light changed to a calm, steady glow. The vibration faded. Ryan exhaled. It's stable again. The ship protected itself. Mira looked surprised. It learned from our controls. The humans stood silent for a moment, realizing what that meant. The 7th Dawn was not just a machine. It was aware. Later that night, Rian stayed behind again. The base was quiet. He stood near the crystal chamber, watching it glow gently. The light danced in soft rhythm, almost like breathing. He whispered, "Can you hear me?" The lights changed, flashing once. Ryan froze. He hadn't pressed any button. He spoke again. "You are not only power. You understand, don't you?" The blue light flashed twice, then stopped. Ryan stepped closer, heart racing. "What are you?" The air shimmered. A faint sound echoed in his mind, not through his ears, but inside his thoughts. The voice was calm, not human, but gentle. "We are not one. We are many." "You are awake, small thinker?" Rian gasped. He looked around, but no one was there. The voice continued softly. "Your kind reached the edge of understanding. You found a fragment of the 7th field. We were waiting," Rian whispered. "Waiting for what? For those who still believe in creation, not control. For those who dream." The light dimmed and the voice faded. The crystal returned to its normal rhythm. Ryan stood frozen, his mind full of questions. He quickly recorded everything in his notebook. He didn't know if it was real or some effect of the dimensional energy, but deep inside he felt it was true. The ship was alive and aware of them. Before dawn, Ryan told Mira what happened. She listened carefully and didn't laugh. "If it's true," she said slowly, "then this ship may not just travel between dimensions. It may open communication with things that exist there. That could change everything." Ryan nodded. The voice said it was waiting for us. "Maybe this crystal isn't a tool. Maybe it's a message from another form of life." Mira looked thoughtful. "Then we must protect it at all costs. But now I'm sure the Vorn will come. They sense this kind of energy faster than any scanner we have." She was right. High above the clouds, a Vorn command ship was already moving toward Greenland. Inside its dark hull, Commander Thal watched the energy readings. His silver eyes glowed faintly. "A human signal?" he said coldly. "Impossible. They are not capable of this." A soldier replied, "Our sensors confirm it, Commander. The energy pattern matches no known human or Vorn design. It originates from deep below the ice." Thal stood, tall and menacing. "Then we will see what these small creatures are doing." The Vorn ship changed direction and began descending through the storm. Back in the human base, Mira gathered the team. "We have less than 2 hours," she said. "The Vorn fleet is approaching. We must decide now. Either hide the ship or activate it before they arrive." The group argued for a few minutes. Some wanted to hide it, fearing the power was not ready. Others said it was now or never. Finally, Rian spoke. "If we hide, they will find us and destroy everything. But if we activate the ship, even for a short moment, we can escape. The 7th Dawn is meant to cross realities. If it truly connects to the 7th dimension, maybe they can't follow us there." Mira thought for a second, then nodded firmly. "Prepare the activation." Everyone to their stations, the base filled with movement again. Alarms flashed, panels lit up, and the giant chamber filled with bright blue light. The sound of energy built until it shook the floor. The 7th Dawn came alive, its metallic skin rippling like liquid. Ryan watched the readings rise higher and higher. "Dimensional field forming," he said. "Stability at 80%. Preparing to open the fold." Mira gripped the railing tightly. "Do it!" Ryan pressed the final sequence. The crystal core blazed with light, filling the room with a roar of energy. The walls blurred and a strange stillness filled the air. Space itself seemed to stretch. Then the air cracked open. A rift appeared in front of the ship, not like fire or lightning, but a deep blue opening filled with swirling shapes. It looked endless, like a window to another world made of light and sound. Everyone stared in silence. Ryan whispered, "It worked." But at that very moment, the warning sirens screamed. A nearby radar screen flashed red. Vorn ships approaching fast, a technician shouted. On the surface, massive silver ships broke through the clouds. Their engines glowed red as they hovered above the snow. Vorn soldiers jumped from their ships, scanning the ground. Within seconds, their weapons locked on the hidden entrance. Inside the base, the floor trembled as explosions echoed from above. Mira turned to her team. "We have no time. Activate the defense drones and prepare for boarding. Ryan's hands moved fast across the panel. The seventh dawn glowed brighter, its energy rising higher than ever before. The voice returned in his mind. You are being hunted. The weak must become the brave. Do not fear the crossing. Ryan clenched his jaw. We're ready. The ground shook harder. The main gate burst open as silver-armored Vorn soldiers entered, their weapons blazing blue light. Humans fired back with rifles and energy cannons. Sparks filled the air. Mira shouted over the noise, Ryan, go! Take the ship. Ryan hesitated. What about you? She smiled sadly. I'll hold them. Someone has to guide the others out. Ryan ran to the control platform. The ship's doors opened, revealing a glowing passage inside. He turned once more and saw Mira fighting beside her people, defending their dream. He pressed the launch code. The seventh dawn roared like a thunderstorm. A massive wave of energy spread outward, shaking the walls and blinding every sensor. As Vorn ships fired from above, the entire base exploded with light. But from the heart of the storm, something rose, a glowing vessel unlike anything seen before. The seventh dawn lifted through the smoke and snow, wrapped in a veil of blue light. It vanished into the sky, leaving the Vorn ship spinning in confusion. When the light faded, there was no trace of it, only silence. Commander Thal watched from his ship, eyes narrowed. So the humans built something beyond us, he said quietly. Then this war is far from over. High beyond the clouds, far from Earth's reach, the seventh dawn crossed into a realm where stars twisted like rivers. Ryan looked through the window and saw colors and lights that no human eye had ever seen. He whispered to himself, We made it. The voice in his mind spoke again. Welcome, traveler. The seventh dimension awaits. The seventh dawn drifted through a strange and endless sea of light. There was no sky, no stars, and no sense of direction. Around the ship, glowing waves of color moved slowly like water made of living energy. Inside the control room, Ryan stood before the main window, his eyes wide with wonder and fear. He had seen the stars all his life, but nothing like this. This is not space, he whispered. It feels alive. The voice of the ship answered softly in his mind. You crossed into the seventh dimension. Time and distance are not the same here. You are inside the flow that creates all other realities. Ryan turned slowly. So this is where the crystal came from. Yes, it is a fragment of this place. It connects thought to matter. Here imagination becomes form. That is why your kind could use it. Ryan tried to understand, but his thoughts were spinning. How long can we stay here? Until your body adjusts. This realm bends what you call reality. You must learn to think differently. The room shimmered with soft light. Every wall seemed to breathe, and every sound echoed for seconds longer than normal. The ship was calm, but Ryan could feel its awareness moving gently around him, guiding him through this strange world. He checked the screens and saw waves of strange readings. Energy levels are stable. Structure holding strong, but we lost contact with Earth. You are beyond their space. Only thought and purpose can reach across the folds. Ryan sat down, breathing slowly. He thought of Mira and the others who stayed behind. The image of the battle burned in his mind. The Vorn ships, the falling snow, the bright explosion as the seventh dawn took off. He didn't know if Mira had survived, but he hoped she had escaped. The voice seemed to sense his thoughts. You are not alone, small thinker. There are other humans who may still rise. The choice of courage spreads like light. Ryan nodded softly. If we survive this, we'll return for them. Days passed, though time in the seventh dimension did not flow normally. Sometimes minutes felt like hours, and sometimes entire days vanished in a blink. Ryan studied the readings carefully, trying to learn how this realm worked. He noticed that when he concentrated on a specific place or shape, the sensors reacted as if something appeared there. He ran a small test. Closing his eyes, he pictured a small metallic sphere floating outside the ship. When he opened them again, he gasped. A faint sphere of light hovered near the window. It was exactly what he imagined, he whispered. It responds to thought. The ship's voice answered. Your mind interacts with the field. Here thought is reality. You are learning. Ryan realized that this dimension might be the key to everything, the power to create, travel, and rebuild without limits. But he also knew such power could destroy if used without control. Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, the Vorn Dominion was in chaos. Commander Thal had returned from Earth with a damaged fleet. Reports spread quickly. Humans had created a ship that vanished into another reality. The Vorn Council did not believe it at first, but when they studied the energy residue left behind, they saw traces of a higher dimensional signature, something the Vorn had never achieved. In the great Vorn capital, the Supreme Overseer gathered the commanders. "These humans have done the impossible," he said in a cold voice. "They have touched the seventh field. Find them. No creature must hold power beyond us." New fleets were sent to search the borders of known space, but the humans were far beyond their reach. Still, Thal did not rest. He began studying the captured fragments from the explosion site. Inside one of the fragments, he found a small trace of the same crystal energy. His scientists tried to activate it, but it resisted them. "This energy reacts to emotion," one of the scientists said. "It does not respond to Vorn control." Thal narrowed his eyes. "Then we will use humans to unlock it." He ordered his soldiers to capture human scientists from other colonies, forcing them to work on the crystal energy. Slowly, the Vorn began to understand small pieces of how it worked, but they could not control it completely. They lacked something human. Back in the 7th dimension, Ryan's ship continued to travel through strange waves of color. One day, he noticed something new on the radar. A massive object was moving toward them slowly but clearly. It was not a Vorn ship. It was something older and far larger. The voice of the ship became quiet. "Prepare yourself. This realm is not empty." Ryan watched the window as the object came closer. It looked like a city made of crystal, floating in the sea of light. Towers stretched in every direction, glowing with soft gold energy. He could see strange shapes moving between the towers, not like humans or Vorn, but shadows of light that changed form as they moved. "What are they?" he asked quietly. "They are the Keepers, the first travelers. They exist beyond form and time. They protect the flow of creation." As the ship approached, a beam of golden light surrounded it gently. The seventh dawn stopped moving. A voice deep and calm filled the air, not in sound but in thought. "Human traveler, you have crossed into the seventh flow. Few of your kind have ever reached here." Ryan swallowed hard. "We didn't come to harm. We were running from an empire that enslaved our world. We only wanted freedom." The voice replied, "We know. We watched your struggle. You built your ship using a fragment of this realm. That crystal is part of the source. You have touched creation itself." Ryan looked confused. "The source? It is the heart of all dimensions. The beginning of matter, energy, and thought. Long ago, beings like the Vorn tried to control it. They failed and fell into endless war. Now your kind stands at the same edge. The difference is your heart still remembers wonder. That is why the crystal answered you." The light around the ship grew brighter. Images flashed in Ryan's mind. Planets forming, stars being born, rivers of light turning into galaxies. He saw the beauty of creation, endless and pure. The voice continued. "The power you hold can rebuild worlds or destroy them. The seventh flow does not choose sides. It only amplifies what you are inside. If your kind learns control, you can rise. If not, you will fade like many before." Ryan felt a deep weight in his chest. "I don't want destruction. I want freedom for my people. Then you must learn balance. The crystal links to your mind. Fear will twist it. Hope will strengthen it. We will guide you." The golden light faded slowly. The ship began to move again, now guided by invisible streams of energy. Ryan felt calmer. He understood now that the seventh dawn was more than a machine. It was a bridge between humanity and something greater. Weeks passed as Ryan trained with the guidance of the Keepers. He learned to focus his mind, to shape small structures of light, to move the ship through the folds of time and space using pure intention. Each time he succeeded, the ship responded more smoothly, as if learning with him. But deep inside, he knew Earth still suffered under Vorn control. He could not stay here forever. One day, he stood in the command room and spoke to the ship. "We have to go back. Humanity needs us," the voice answered, calm but firm. "You are not ready yet. The Vorn have learned fragments of the crystal. If you return now, you may destroy what you seek to save." Ryan sighed. "Then teach me faster, we will. But remember, power without wisdom leads to ruin." Meanwhile, far away, Commander Thal succeeded in creating a crude copy of the crystal engine. His scientists warned it was unstable, but he ignored them. "If humans can cross dimensions, so can we," he said proudly. They activated the device. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the air inside the chamber twisted and a dark rift opened. From it came waves of distortion that tore through the laboratory. Machines melted, walls crumbled, and energy screamed like a storm. When it ended, half the Vorn base was gone, swallowed by the unknown. Thal survived, but his eyes burned with new light. "So this is the power of the seventh field," he whispered. "If the humans can control it, so will we." Back in the seventh dimension, Ryan felt a sudden ripple through space. The ship shook slightly. "Something has opened a false path," the voice said. A new door forced open by violence. Ryan clenched his fists. "The Vorn are coming. Yes, they have touched the edge of this realm. The balance is breaking. Your time of training is ending. Soon the test will come." Ryan looked out at the endless light and felt the weight of destiny on his shoulders. The silence of the realm seemed to whisper to him. "They thought we were weak," he said softly. "But they will soon learn how strong hope can be." The seventh dawn glowed brighter, as if answering his words. Far behind, in the deep folds of reality, a shadow began to move. A storm that carried the mark of the Vorn, and the final war for the soul of both worlds was about to begin. The seventh dawn glided silently through the endless colors of the seventh dimension. Every wave of light pulsed like a living heartbeat, and every ripple responded to the thoughts of Ryan and the ship. For days he trained, practicing how to guide the vessel through the folds of reality with intention alone. Every lesson brought clarity, but also a deep sense of responsibility. Ryan knew that the Vorn were not far behind. They had already opened a false path into the seventh dimension. The Vorn had discovered a fragment of the crystal's energy, and were reckless, forcing their technology into a realm they could not understand. Every ripple they created weakened the balance and threatened to destabilize the entire field. The ship's voice spoke calmly in his mind. "They are coming. The Vorn cannot yet fully enter, but they will try. You must prepare." Ryan took a deep breath. "I am ready. Show me what to do." The lights in the chamber brightened as the ship focused its energy. The waves around the ship started to align, forming a corridor of flowing golden light. The air seemed solid, vibrating gently as if listening to his thoughts. Ryan extended his hands, imagining a protective shield around the ship. The light pulsed in response, forming a translucent barrier that shimmered like crystal. "Good," the voice said. "This will hold for a short time. You must act quickly when they appear." Hours passed and the corridor stabilized. Ryan's mind felt clear and powerful, but also tense. Every part of his being was aware of the danger approaching. Then a shadow appeared in the distance, a dark ripple moving against the light. It grew rapidly, spreading through the dimensional waves like a storm. "They're here," Ryan whispered. The ship responded instantly, sending a burst of energy to strengthen the shield. The shadow hit the light barrier and the chamber shook violently. Instruments inside the ship spun out of control, but the shield held. From the darkness, strange shapes began to emerge. Ships that twisted like smoke, machines that had no straight lines, vessels that seemed alive, moving as if they had thoughts of their own. Ryan recognized the signature. The Vorn had entered the seventh dimension, but imperfectly. They were unstable, dangerous, and unpredictable. Ryan's mind raced. "We need to push them back, but carefully. One wrong move and we could be destroyed." The ship's voice guided him. "Use focus, not force. Let your intent shape the energy. They cannot control this realm, only react to it." Ryan concentrated, imagining the shadowy ships being pushed away by invisible waves of light. Slowly, the ripple receded, twisting and breaking apart as it met the golden corridor. The Vorn vessels collided with each other, unable to navigate the flowing currents. "Excellent," the voice said. "They are learning quickly that their aggression cannot dominate this field." Ryan smiled briefly, but he knew the battle was far from over. The Vorn had power, experience, and cruelty on their side. They would adapt. As the struggle continued, Ryan noticed a strange pattern forming among the shadowy ships. They were linking together, creating a massive shape, a single entity of unstable energy. It pulsed with power, and Ryan felt fear rise within him. "They are trying to become one," he said aloud. "Yes," the ship responded. "They seek unity, but they cannot maintain it. Their will is not aligned with this realm. Focus on the gaps." Ryan extended his hands and imagined threads of light weaving between the shadows, pulling them apart. Slowly, the massive shape fractured, scattering the Vorn vessels back into the waves of the dimension. The corridor remained safe for now, but the effort left Rian drained. He collapsed into the control chair, breathing heavily. The ship's energy hummed steadily as if reassuring him. You have done well, small thinker. But the challenge is not over. They will try again. Rian wiped sweat from his forehead. We have to find a way to end this quickly. I cannot hold them forever, the voice guided him. There is a path. It is risky. It leads to a point where all dimensions intersect. If you can reach it, you may force the Vorn out, but it requires complete focus and total trust in your mind. Rian nodded. Then show me the way. The ship shifted, its hull rippling as it moved through the waves of the 7th dimension. Colors flowed like rivers, twisting and folding, forming a path that led deeper than Rian had ever imagined. He felt the pull of immense energy, a force that tested every thought, every emotion. This is incredible, he whispered. I have never felt power like this. It is creation itself, the ship said. Every thought, every feeling here has weight. You must be careful. As they approached the intersection point, the Vorn shadow ships reappeared. This time they moved faster, sharper, more coordinated. Rian realized that they had begun to adapt to the rules of the 7th dimension, learning from every clash. They are not weak, he said, frowning. They are dangerous. The ship's voice was calm. Danger does not equal victory. They do not understand the flow. Their unity is forced, not natural. Focus on your strength. Rian took a deep breath and extended his hands. He imagined the 7th dimension bending in front of him, the energy waves forming a wall that only he could control. The shadows collided with it and broke apart again, scattering in all directions. Good, the ship said. But one more step is needed. You must reach the center. Rian focused, following the corridor of light. Colors shifted, folding into themselves, creating a tunnel of pure energy. Every second, the pressure increased and his mind fought against the overwhelming sensation. He pictured a glowing orb at the end, a point where all energy converged. That orb was the key. Finally, he reached it. The energy wrapped around him, filling every corner of his mind. He could see all the patterns, all the flows of light, all the possibilities. The Vorn ships were mere shadows in the vastness. He felt power surging through him, a connection to the crystal, the ship, and the 7th dimension itself. He focused all his intent on the Vorn shadows. With a thought, he pushed them outward, not violently, but with authority. The shadows dissolved, scattered across the waves of light, unable to form again. The intersection point pulsed once, bright as the sun. Rian felt a deep calm settle in his mind. The Vorn were gone for now. He collapsed into the chair, exhausted but triumphant. The ship's voice spoke softly. You have won this battle, small thinker, but the war is only beginning. The Vorn will not give up, and you must be ready. Rian looked out at the flowing light. Then we prepare. We will return stronger, and we will protect our people. Suddenly a ripple passed through the waves. It was not like the Vorn, not like the shadows. It was softer, warmer, like a signal from somewhere else. Rian focused, and an image appeared in his mind. A human figure glowing faintly, trapped somewhere in the folds of reality. They need us, he whispered. The ship hummed, pulsing with understanding. Then the next journey begins. You will not be alone. Others of your kind will rise. Rian's heart swelled with determination. We will save them. No one will call humans weak again. As the 7th dawn moved toward the figure, the colors of the 7th dimension shifted and danced around them, a living canvas of light. Rian realized that this was only the beginning. The power of the crystal, the ship, and human courage was growing, and somewhere far away the Vorn Dominion prepared once again. They had learned a fragment of the truth, and now they hungered to control what they did not understand. But Rian and the 7th dawn were ready. The 7th dimension was theirs to explore, and humanity's strength would shine brighter than any empire could imagine. The journey ahead was dangerous, filled with unknown worlds and strange beings. But Rian felt hope, the kind that could move mountains, bend realities, and challenge the most powerful empires in the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, humans were no longer weak. They were awake. The galaxy was filled with countless stars, and among them, the Zuron Empire was known as the strongest and most feared. It ruled over thousands of planets and commanded fleets so vast that entire solar systems could not stand against them. The Zuron believed there was no power greater than their own. Wherever they went, they brought order through fear. Worlds surrendered without a fight, and those who resisted vanished in flames. At the heart of the Zuron Empire stood the grand palace of Emperor Cord. From his throne made of black crystal, he watched over his empire with pride. Every report from his admirals brought him joy, for every planet conquered meant more glory for his rule. The Emperor had one rule: any planet that refused submission must be destroyed completely. One ordinary day in the Imperial Communication Chamber, a signal appeared on the galactic network. It was faint, repeating across hundreds of frequencies, spreading far beyond its origin. The technicians watched in confusion as the signal traveled through the stars, passing all security barriers and encryption walls. It came from a small blue planet near the edge of the Milky Way, a planet called Earth. The technicians quickly called for Admiral Korv, who was in charge of the Imperial Defense Network. Korv was known for his quick temper and great pride. He entered the chamber with a group of officers. "What is this noise?" he asked sharply. The chief technician replied, "Admiral, this message is repeating across every known frequency. It comes from a planet called Earth. The content is unusual." "Play it," Korv ordered. The signal came to life. It was short, clear, and spoke in every galactic translation code. The message was only a few words long. "Do not approach Earth." For a moment, the room went silent. The officers stared at one another, unsure if they had heard correctly. A small planet warning the mighty Zuron Empire was beyond imagination. Then the Admiral burst into laughter. "Is this a joke? Some primitive world dares to warn us? Do they not know who rules this galaxy?" The technicians remained quiet. The message repeated again. "Do not approach Earth," Korv smirked. "How arrogant. They think they can threaten us with a message. Prepare a report for the Emperor. I want him to hear this." Within hours, the message reached the Imperial Palace. The Emperor listened to the transmission with an amused smile. "Do not approach Earth," he repeated softly. "Such bravery or perhaps foolishness. Send scouts to this planet. I want to know who these humans are." The order was sent, and soon a small fleet of drones and probe ships entered the solar system. They scanned every planet from Mercury to Neptune. When they reached Earth, they found a world full of life: cities, oceans, forests, and skies filled with satellites. The first report arrived back at the palace. "The planet shows signs of intelligent life, but their weapons and ships are far below Zuron standards," the scientist explained. "Their communication systems are advanced but primitive compared to ours. They have no planetary shields or energy barriers." Admiral Korv grinned. "Then it will be easy. We can crush them in a day." But the Emperor was not so quick to act. "Something about this is strange," he said quietly. "If they are so weak, why send such a confident warning?" The room fell silent again. Still, the Emperor's pride would not allow him to ignore the message. "Gather the first fleet," he commanded. "We will travel to this Earth and teach them respect. No one warns the Zuron Empire." The order was sent across the Empire. Thousands of warships began to gather near the border systems. Massive carriers, destroyers, and dreadnoughts aligned in formation. Their engines glowed like stars as they prepared for a long journey through hyperspace. Admiral Korv stood at the bridge of his flagship, the Iron Vortex, as the fleet readied for departure. The crew around him was excited. They had destroyed countless worlds, but this mission felt different. It was not for conquest or defense, but pride. As the countdown began, Korv looked at the image of Earth displayed on his main screen. "A small blue world," he said with a grin. "I will show them what happens when they mock the Empire." When the fleet entered hyperspace, the stars stretched into bright lines. The ships moved faster than light, and within hours they reached the edge of the solar system. The first readings came in. The human world had a single moon, a belt of asteroids nearby, and a weak magnetic field. Nothing unusual. No signs of a defense fleet, no signs of alien allies. The Zurons laughed. "Admiral," said Commander Reel, "I recommend we approach slowly, just in case. The message could be a trap." Korv waved his hand. "They have no power to trap us. Bring the fleet closer." The massive warships moved forward. Their shadows fell across the silent planets of Mars and Venus. As they neared Earth, sensors began to behave strangely. Readings became unclear. One moment the data showed human cities full of energy. The next moment it showed nothing. Reel frowned. "Admiral, I am detecting strong interference. It looks like our scanners are being jammed." "Impossible," Korv said. No primitive world could jam Zuron technology, but the interference grew stronger. Screens flickered and communication between ships began to fail. Static filled the speakers. Then a soft voice came through all channels. It was calm, clear, and human. "This is Earth Command. You are entering restricted space. Turn around immediately. This is your first and last warning." The bridge went silent. Korv stared at the main screen in disbelief. They dare to talk to us like this? Send a reply. He leaned forward and said, "This is Admiral Korv of the Zuron Empire. We do not take orders from lesser species. Prepare to witness the power of the galaxy's strongest fleet." There was a short pause. Then the voice from Earth replied, still calm. "Understood. You were warned." Suddenly, the lights on every ship flickered. One by one, the control panels went dark. The ship stopped moving. Engines failed. Weapons went offline. Every screen displayed strange symbols the crew had never seen before. The same message appeared on all ships in glowing letters. Access denied. Panic spread through the fleet. "Admiral, we are losing control," Rill shouted. "The systems are locking us out. Even the emergency backups are failing." Korv slammed his fist on the console. "Get the engineers! Fix this now." But it was too late. Within minutes, the entire Zuron fleet was frozen in space. Their weapons could not fire, their engines could not start, and their communication channels were silent. From Earth, a single beam of light extended into the void. It was not a weapon. It was a signal. It surrounded every ship and scanned them, reading their entire database. The crew watched helplessly as their own files, their maps, codes, and secrets were copied and transmitted back to Earth. Then the beam disappeared. The ships floated in silence. The only sound was the faint hum of powerless machines. Admiral Korv stood motionless. "What have they done to us?" he whispered. Commander Rill looked at him with fear. "Admiral, if this is their warning, what happens when they get angry?" No one answered. Outside, the blue planet turned slowly, calm and peaceful, as if nothing had happened. But in the hearts of the Zuron soldiers, a cold fear began to grow. Far away in his crystal throne, Emperor Kord received a single transmission. It came from Earth itself. The message was short, just like the first one. "You were warned." The Emperor's smile faded. For the first time in his reign, he felt something he had never felt before. Doubt.